the creator economy is going to double in the next 5 years. 2.6 billion monthly active users on YouTube. Entrepreneurs that approach YouTube are not going to commit to content creation. They're going to commit to building a media company.
If you're talking to an entrepreneur business owner here, it's like, what do you predict in the future? Will there be a lot more of us and where's it moving to?
So if you were going to really invest, I think it's wise to say, well, is it worth investing in content? Is it worth investing in YouTube? Is it worth investing in social media? Is it growing bigger? Is it plateaued? Is it on the decline? You probably don't want to open up a chain store for renting physical DVDs and VHS tapes as Blockbuster is rapidly closing stores and Netflix is taking over. And now there's only one Blockbuster left, and it's an epic story because Blockbuster had a chance to buy Netflix, passed on the opportunity because they didn't see where the trend was going. They didn't see where the next thing was going. So what's the data tell us? Well, Goldman Sachs Research released an article based on data predicting that the creator economy, the total addressable market, is going to double in the next 5 years. This is pretty wild because when you think about the creator economy already, and that for the business owner, they're like, what does that even mean? Well, this is independent content creators starting channels across social media platforms. And how much money are they generating? What kind of businesses are they building? But also what the creator economy would be is there's creator economy startups. You think of a company like Adobe, the video editing software, Jelly Smack, which repurposes content for creators and monetizes across platforms, Carrot, which is a credit card that your credit line is based off your follower count and other metrics because traditional lending doesn't understand creators as much. And so when anybody looks at the amount of money in the system, essentially, the total addressable market, about $250 billion right now, and then sees that it's estimated to be about $500 billion in the next few years, and then observes how crazy it is right now, how 2.6 billion monthly active users on YouTube, 2.7 billion monthly active users on YouTube, how many creator startups like Think Media are hiring people, maturing, how many small, mid-size, and large creators there are, how much money there is. And what's shocking about that $500 billion industry over the next few years is that's not calculating a lot of our customer base. A lot of the people who follow us are real estate agents, loan officers, service providers, professionals, experts, coaches, course creators, as well as DIY, home organization, frugal living creators, cooking channels, mothers that can actually just monetize their content itself. But we're looking about the whole entrepreneur side or service provider side where real estate agents start a YouTube channel and increase their transactions per month by 100%, 200%, 300%. While real estate here in the US is being devastated, creators that are pivoting and starting to embrace social media and YouTube, or rather business owners, entrepreneurs, agents, are not only protecting and surviving through a recession, but thriving in a recession as the housing market is frozen here because they're embracing new media. So to simplify what I'm suggesting is that if it's already creating so much prosperity and so much impact right now, and the data and trends is showing us that it's going to, keyword, double in the next 5 years, then investing in content creation and starting a YouTube channel is a good investment. And it would not just be like, I hope this works. It would be like, oh yeah, there's real data to support that. The final thing I would say in answer to your question is what's changed over the last 5-10 years on YouTube. There's certainly a lot of dragons we need to slay, a lot of giants we need to slay. One is, of course, competition is rising. The opportunity is very real and growing and doubling, but there's more people that are aware of that opportunity. And so I think that 5-10 years ago on YouTube, you could succeed if you were playing checkers. In a 2023, 2024 world, you're not going to succeed unless you're playing chess. What does that mean? It means that man, you got to learn the skills. You have to develop a strategy. You got to be strategic with your content. You just can't cavalierly lob out some content, not be thoughtful about the title, not be thoughtful about how it's packaged, not be thoughtful about the thumbnail, not mastering the strategies and best practices of YouTube. I think that the smartest entrepreneurs that approach YouTube are not going to commit to content creation. They're going to commit to building a media company. We're seeing that smart entrepreneurs aren't like, oh, I'm not going to start creating content. I'm basically going to open up a division. Like that the modern marketing is you used to put dollars and maybe still do behind whatever your advertising was, traditional billboard, pay-per-click, magazine, newspaper, direct mail. And if that stuff's still working and you're tracking it, then by all means. In fact, those will be even bigger opportunities as some people forget about some of these mediums. However, dollar for dollar, rather than just thinking, how do I create content with my smartphone? It's who can I hire? There's a good book called Who Not How by Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. And it's actually who is going to run the media department that is going to help me embrace new media rather than how am I going to start creating content? I'm already too busy. So smart business owners aren't just going to be like, oh, I'm going to start creating a few pieces of content. They're going to say, oh, I'm going to build a media company inside of my company. That's basically a division that is going to embrace this, not as a 6-month trend, but as a lifestyle and critical component of successful businesses over the next 5 years, why this whole thing is doubling. And so I think it's about skilling up. It's about getting educated. It's about being strategic. And it's about learning these new mediums. And it's about, I'm bullish on YouTube. It's also based on data. It's the #1 video platform. I really think it should be your kind of home base and a place of pillar content. But I think it's also important that we don't become romantic about any of these things. My company, this is might shock a few people and seem intimidating. You don't start here, but we post 350 pieces of content a week. Wow. And that's a team, that's a system, that's a routine. By the way, and I have more lifestyle, more peace of mind, more time with my 1-year-old and 3-year-old than I've ever had as well. So it's not just about grit and hustle. That's important in certain seasons. It's not just about an intense season of maybe sacrificing. A lot of people listening to this need to go into that season because they've got a learning curve that they need to shorten and catch up on to embrace some of these things. But on the other side of learning, leveling up, the pain before the prosperity of hiring, like I don't even know this, like the skill gap, the education gap, but you got an admin person, maybe a videographer, maybe a video editor, you've got the system built for how content is being produced. Not only is there more leads, clients, sales, doubling of your company, more revenue waiting for you on the other side of building this, but there's also more peace of mind, lifestyle on the other side as well, because social media will work for you if you learn how to work it. And back to not being romantic, our 350 pieces of content, I'm not just posting on YouTube. We're posting 2 videos a day on TikTok. We're posting 2 Instagram Reels a day, which also go to Facebook Reels. We are posting in YouTube Shorts. We're on multiple YouTube channels. And if a new platform emerges, we're exploring that as well. When you're aware of what your offer is and who you can add value to, and basically who do you help and how do you help them, there's no reason why you shouldn't be on Threads. People go, oh, it dropped, 75% after the buzz wore off. And you're like, well, sure. But if it was 100 million people engaged and it dropped 75%, still 25 million people. The somewhat cynical and headline reading novice goes, oh, look, Threads is dead. The wise tactician and strategist says 25 million people is still a pretty radical group that I could reach with my message, my product, my service. And so embracing the undefeated and provable thesis that social media is the greatest way, it's the most affordable way to reach the billions of people that are on the internet right now, because most of us don't have money for a Super Bowl commercial or for traditional media. I think you accept that thesis and then you just put in the grit, work, and learnings necessary to back it up, multiplied by time. And some people listening to this podcast are going to be shocked by what they're able to build and how big they're able to grow their company, or how they're able to protect their company in famine, like Joseph, storing away grain for the next 7 years, learning a new skill set so that when the famine hits, you're ready. You better learn to swim now so that when the world gets flooded, you don't drown. And so you better build your ark now so that when the flood comes, you're prepared for it. And so I think those that are paying attention to these shifts in the media landscape and business landscape are going to be happy that they did, because everyone's saying, it's not going to rain. And once it starts to, you're like, it's probably smart I was building a boat in the desert, because you're ready with this new media skill set that is so essential. If you enjoyed this podcast and are ready for some deep dive YouTube strategy, just go to thinkmasterclass.com to get access to my 1 hour on-demand YouTube strategy class. You'll be looking over my shoulder as I share my best tips, and you can watch it on demand right now at thinkmasterclass.com.